the power of emotional intelligence in modern leadership. Our panelists involved include Alison Montebello, founder of Montebello Wellness, Rajesh Kumar Naidu, Managing Director and COO at Singapore Alliance for Research and Enterprise, Ahmed Az, Senior Director, Gastroenterology and Metabolic Diseases, Middle East and Northern Africa at Newbridge Pharmaceuticals, and Dr. Tamara Grigor, founder and CEO of Tamara's Workshops. And our moderator for today is going to be Osama Shahayar, co-founder and GM at Rasa Communications Limited. A round of applause for all our panelists.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I hope the audience are still being energetic after having lunch. I think already 1.5 or 2 hours finished, and you already had a couple of panel discussions. So I request the audience to be keen with us, appreciate our efforts, give energy to us during this discussion. So let's start with the brief intro of our panel members, and then we will have a discussion about understanding empathy and emotional intelligence in terms of conceptual and practical purpose. And we will have some activity for the audience. And the third will be like we will have practical questions to understand how we will take forward empathy and emotional intelligence in the coming generations. And finally, we will have question and answer sessions. So let's start with Alison to introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you. So I'm Alison Montebello. I am from Australia and I'm now based in Europe. My first study was as a radial massage therapist, and I've used that for over 10 years now, reading bodies and reading their emotions are stored on the body. Nowadays, I am founder of Montebello Wellness. The vision for Montebello Wellness is for people to realize their dreams. I've noticed in all of my training that the more people were in pain, the further away they were going from their dreams. So my aim is to bring people back to them.
Mr. Rahman?
That's raising the bar. I take a part in also relieving the pain, but I'm a pharmacist. I'm Egyptian. My name is Ahmed Az. I'm a senior director for gastroenterology and metabolic in pharmaceutical industry in a company called Newbridge Pharmaceuticals. I'm responsible for sales and marketing in the Middle East and North Africa region. I'm holding 17 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry. And it's a pleasure being in the middle of this diverse background with panelists.
Thank you, Ahmed. If we can have intro with Dr. Tamara.
Hello everyone, my name is Tamara Grigori. I'm the CEO and founder of Tamara's Workshops, Romanian IT hub for children and teens. My main goal is to develop digital skills and IT knowledge in a safe place where children can express themselves, but in a constructive way. They will feel good, but also they will learn something and they will achieve their goals in the life. And one of my goals also is to discover, the children should discover in themselves their goal. And if you will discover your goal, you will know what to do further, and you will know how to plan your journey in the world, in your career, and this is what I'm doing. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful to be here.
Thank you, Tamara.
Success to everyone.
Mr. Rajesh, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Rajesh. I'm the Managing Director and CEO of SHARE. SHARE is a research center in Singapore. I work very closely with colleagues from Prime Minister's Office, from government agencies, and the industries. So in the past 2 years, we have secured grants that are in the deep tech ecosystem, in areas such as high-tech farming, aquaculture, cellular agriculture, microbiology, pharmacology, and many more areas that I shall not touch on as well. So Prior to joining SHARE, I also have experience in education, in sales and hospitality. So I have qualifications in psychology, in education, business admin, and business law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. My brief introduction is I have 22 years of professional experience coming from telecom IT background, and in academics I have a doctorate degree from US California University in specialization in leadership. So kind of match between academics because I'm also a part-time professor in leadership and leadership coach. So a mix of corporate experience and the academics, and I hope we can convey the right message with our panel members here to the audience, especially on the topic of EI and empathy. So to start with, my question goes to Alison. What do you think that recognizes and address emotional needs to make any leader effective?
I believe it's understanding where your people are coming from. And if you can't do that on an individual level, I understand that companies we have many people,
Yeah.
many people working underneath us, but having an idea of where people have come from with their culture, with their society, not necessarily what the individual has dealt with in their own life. But for example, we've had wars, and these have reflected through many cultures and affected people in many different ways. And it comes out in their lives personally, but also in the workplace. And we spend most of our time in the workplace. So it's really important to understand why people are reacting and where it could have come from, but also empowering them in feeling these emotions, how to communicate them as well.
Okay. Mr. Ahmed, according to you, you know that there are some misconceptions in the corporate world and even in personal life that people always misunderstand the difference between empathy and sympathy. So if you can elaborate more on it.
That's a misconception that is unfortunately widespread, and this is coming from the being close in the alphabetical wording.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether we all have this misconception or not, but I would agree with this. But they are totally different.
Okay.
Sympathy is quite passive. And let's define empathy first, because this is our topic of discussion. Empathy is putting yourself in the shoes of people and understanding where they are coming from and feeling their feelings the way they feel it, not being passive towards it, being active, and providing comfort to people, and providing not advices, providing comment, providing solutions. Sympathy, on the other side, is just feeling pity for them and being passive to their feelings, and just feeling sorry for them and feeling bad, and providing judgments for their situations, and rather than being active and providing comfort and relief. I think my perspective, and even the literature, supports that empathy is essential for leadership. Sympathy is just a human nature. Yeah, we all feel sorry for each other, but for leadership, it's essential to be empathetic for people, not just sympathetic.
Okay. Dr. Tamara, according to you, what do you think that are ethical considerations related to using empathy in leadership?
Yes, I am agree with that. We should take in considering these ethical boundaries, and because I am a very empathic person, and I have struggled from the beginning of my career with my empathy, because I am very empathic, and I started like a trainer working with children, and the first time when I realized that I'm very empathic was when a mom said to me that, a psychologist mom said to me, you know, you are too empathic and this is not professional. And I started to think, okay, but I love children, we should give something or emotion to the children for them them to be there with you in the room, and you should give, not only receive. And that moment, I started to think where I should put boundaries to my empathy and how should I preserve my energy so I can work the same with all the children and also with the trainers that are in my jurisdiction. In my, I was also education manager, so yes, we should put some limits. As Dennis said in the morning, empathy and compassion. But I think we should be somewhere in the middle and should be aware of human dignity also, because every human should be respected. And I think the empathy starts from that point. And if we see all the people equal, and children also, they are feeling great because they are important. And you build this trust in the children even from the early age. And yes, that's all.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
So that means if we can understand what you are saying is that one should respect the other personality in order to have empathy first. That's what you mean?
Yeah, yes, we have the empathy is important. For me to understand how to use empathy, I have broke myself, my inner self into little pieces, and after that I have built a safe place for me in my inner safe, to be safe. I have an example here. When I was in a camp, IT camp in the mountains in Romania with the children, I'm sleeping less sleeping 4 or 5 hours at night, and a child asked me, teacher, are you not tired? And I have said to him, you know, I'm not allowed to be tired because I'm here with you. And the children said to me, but you can't be tired and have care of us. And I said no. So I think I built this empathy in me that helped me to deal also with children, because you have to know very well yourself when you are trying to give something, knowledge, emotion, behaviors to the children. You have to be very aware of yourself. And I think and I have good results with kids in this way.
Okay. Mr. Rajesh, do you think that are there any major components of emotional intelligence, and how do they contribute to effective leadership?
Yeah, so I believe many of you here are established business leaders, entrepreneurs, speakers, and you may have better insights than me. But let us go back to the fundamentals. So I would like to share a little bit on Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence, EI, and the 4 pillars of it. So they include self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management. So for example, if you are a leader who is very self-aware of your strengths and weaknesses, then you will be able to delegate tasks effectively. And if you are able to self-regulate your own emotions, then during a stressful situation where everyone else is panicking, then you will be able to instill confidence in them, being calm and composed, and able to manage the situation. And if you are someone who is socially aware of any situation and able to build those relationships, then you will be able to communicate with your colleagues, your senior management, your staff members with more clarity and composure. So I believe these 4 pillars are extremely important, and I think we should also practice them, and it has helped me throughout my career. Thank you.
Okay. Alison, according to you, do you believe that, do you see yourself as an empathetic leader? Why or why not?
I do, especially the way that I began. And to be honest, it was quite a difficult beginning because of my empathic nature. Because as an empath, it is meeting other people on their level, and that emotional level could be below where you were starting from at the beginning of a conversation, for example. And I've experienced many times being completely burnt out, having no energy because I've been meeting people down on their level. So it became a practice, especially for the sake of being a leader, to turn it around, to protect my energy. I put all of my time actually into myself. People that didn't know me so well, it could definitely have been seen as selfish. My close friends understood what I needed to do, but for a period of time, I did remove myself so that I could learn to protect myself, get very strong in myself, and my own integrity, realizing what are my emotions and what are the emotions of other people, so that when I am in front of people, I'm not taking theirs on anymore. I'm not coming down to their emotion. Instead, I can still remain where I was when I first arrived in front of them. And instead of coming down to them, they have somebody that they can look up to. So instead of remaining in their current emotional state, they have a state to aspire to. Even if they're not there in that very moment, they've seen it. And once a person has seen it, they can get there.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Ahmed? Do you think yourself as an empathetic leader?
So it's situational. You cannot be all the way along empathetic. In the beginning, when you just get introduced to new followers, if you can say, you cannot say that leadership is usually demonstrated at work. Leadership could be demonstrated when you are within a group of friends or followers or even at home. So when you just get introduced to a group of followers, when you are positioned as a leader, so you need to know their backgrounds. And this is the first empathetic trait that you need to demonstrate. Putting yourself in their shoes and knowing the backgrounds and knowing where they're coming from is the first empathetic step that you demonstrate. And then here you can demonstrate empathetic approach. And then you can build accordingly. And you can build your relationship, you build your emotional intelligence, you build your actions towards them, and then your behaviors towards them. And depends on your position next, what do you want and what do you expect from them, and what are the objectives you're aligned to, and what is your level of authority towards them, and what are your aligned objectives towards them. So once you're, and let's go back to the business. Once you're aligned to an objective, once you're aware of their backgrounds, you can set the objectives and you can deal with them in an empathic way and in an aligned way when you started empathically, and then you can build on this in an emotionally intelligent way. So the base of things is, yes, you can start empathically, but you cannot go and lose yourself, as you mentioned, as Tamara mentioned from a while. You cannot lose yourself in this way because you will lose yourself in this, and you will lose your objectives at the end of the day.
Basically, you mean to say that we cannot generalize it?
You should start like this, to know people's traits and our backgrounds. You should be situationally like this because people change. So you need to you step in their shoes when they come into circumstances and issues. Be close to them and understand their issues, but don't lose the main objective that you are aligned and grouped for, like a corporate objective or a business objective. So don't lose yourself in empathy all the way around. You need to be as close and far at the same time in order to be all the way close to them and close to the objectives that you are looking for.
Okay. How about you, Dr. Tamara? Do you think yourself as an empathetic leader?
I think I am. Because with my trainers, I often have some behaviors that they will not expect. The behaviors they are not meet in other IT schools. In the management of the other IT schools, I'm trying to understand them because most of my trainers are students and they have their program, and and I have to understand that they will have exam, they have nights when they will not sleep, and I am aware of that, and my response is different from the others, leaders from from the IT schools from Bucharest, from where I am in Romania. I also received a phone call from one of my trainers, former trainers, and she said to me, please, I want to come back. They are not understanding me. I want a day off, and they are not letting me to go. You every time respect me, you didn't yell at me, not at once. You are very calm every time, and that what helped me a lot in doing my job good, because I know how it is to train, I know how energy consuming can be to work with children, and I know that for a teacher, for a trainer to have positive energy and to transmit this energy to the children, also they have a good emotional state. So always I have paid attention to that, for them to be good with themselves and have a positive emotion, even when I was not agree with their behavior or what they are doing. I have a lot of diplomacy here also.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rajesh, your input on, do you see yourself as an empathetic leader?
Yes, I believe I'm an empathetic leader, but with a tinge of compassion. So all of us have threshold. There's only so much empathy you can show, but there comes a time where you have to uplift and show a certain amount of compassion, like how Mr. Danny explained earlier in his keynote speech, the differences between an empath and a compassionate leader. So I believe we need to find a balance in that sense. So I believe I'm a empathetic leader with some levels of compassion.
Okay. Alison, I want to know what challenges you see in developing one individual emotional intelligence and empathy skills. If one has to develop emotional intelligence and if one person has to develop the empathy skills, what challenges they will face?
See, when you're developing emotional intelligence skills, it is your own self-awareness. You need to be in tune with your own emotions before you can even gauge anybody else's. And that can be a practice on its own. That can be a full-time practice on its own, depending on how far removed from yourself you've become. But when you're learning your own emotional intelligence, it just comes down to asking yourself, what am I feeling at this point in time? Am I stressed? Am I relaxed? Am I reacting to people that are around me? Or am I around people, letting them have their experience, but remaining in my own experience with this? So it is developing this skill, it is coming into separation. But this separation, it doesn't need to be seen as a negative thing. It's coming into the wholeness that is yourself. Once you start putting yourself and your own emotions first, you feel just how much that is. That in itself is fulfilling. That brings peace, that brings success, both on your interior and your exterior levels. And
okay.
yeah.
Mr. Ahmed, do you like to share any examples where you can say that someone has demonstrated empathy in a leadership role or emotional intelligence has impacted the leadership style? So do you have any such examples in your day-to-day personal life or from corporate life?
There are many examples in all industries. I cannot demonstrate a single example, but I would say generally and academically, emotional intelligence is basic to any success of any leader. And I will go for the most successful leadership style, which is the transformational leadership. We are talking, and this panel discussion is mainly focused about the modern leadership.
Yeah.
Previous models of leadership was based on transactional leadership. Like the leaders set incentives, let's say, for best performers, and best performers are being incentivized for what they do. And that's the way that the corporates grew. The best performers are getting a transaction for being performed. This is no longer applicable. The transformation, and hence the wording transformational, the transformational leaders are totally different. And the traits of the transformational leaders, one of them is the emotional intelligence. Transformational leaders are usually visionary. They don't look at the performers and then let's incentivize them. They are usually visionary. They do have a vision that does not transact performance only. This is a holistic vision for the whole, let's say, corporate or whole entity that incorporates transaction, yes, for the performers, but the vision for the whole entity, a vision that includes growth opportunities for the whole entity, a vision that's clearly communicated, and with this is the part of the emotional intelligence, the clear communication, and alignment of the vision, and inspiration for the employees and the corporate to get to this vision, and empowerment as well, which is one of the themes of the CXO conference, to empower people. This empowerment also couldn't be done without emotional intelligence. And a lot of companies around us where we are, most of people are using the social media platforms, so all these leaders of the social media platforms like Elon Musk, like Mark Zuckerberg, and like Tesla, like Apple. I don't want to be promoting certain brands, but many of these leaders and the founders of these leaders were visionary in their leadership styles and were transformational in building these brands through building a vision, communicating it clearly, transforming the brands from being unknown brands to be top leading brands, and empowering their employees to create, to innovate, and to be empowered, and to take these brands to be a market leading brand and globally leading brands.
Yeah. Dr. Tamara, do you think that someone can balance empathy while making tough decisions as a leader?
Please.
If someone, like during a tough situation or stressful situation, do you think they can balance empathy during tough time?
If they are in a stress situation,
Yes.
how they balance their
Empathy. Yeah.
It's coming with training. You can do it, but not in the beginning. You have to train that in you. That's what have done with me. In the stressful situation, to be able to deal with empathy, to also be empathic person, also to be professional, also, and keep my calm, To not, if in every situation, if you are a calm person and you can deal with every situation, difficult situation, even with a difficult client, a difficult parent, you can turn him to be more, to smile. You can, it's a word, be more relaxed, smile more.
But it comes, I think, with practice.
Yes,
You cannot just, during stressful situation, usually people outburst. So unless you have something meditation or which is related to Allison, meditation or yoga, where you can train individual personality, body and mind.
Yes, it depends on everyone background. Some doing meditation, some has their coaches who help them to regulate themselves. Some have a confessor, a priest, and it depends on each one background. We cannot absolute that. It depends on everyone, and every way I think it's correct if this is helping you to be a balanced person, I think.
Okay. Mr. Rajesh,
Thank you.
what strategies do you think an organization needs to cultivate empathy within the team members? if the team has to develop empathy, what strategy the organization can have in place?
Okay, I believe training is definitely one aspect. So if you have a big team, I mean, you can have small group training to inculcate the values, as I mentioned earlier on, the 4 pillars, where you put them in a certain scenario and play out through role playing, and that could help them to understand in certain scenarios how you should respond, how you should act on. Another way would be to encourage active listening in the workplace. And also, if you are able to engage them through staff engagement surveys, then you may understand their needs that they may need to train in these specific areas. Then you can be more targeted, more specific when you wish to train them in certain areas, because everyone is diverse in the organization. So there are many various ways. It really depends on the need of the organization. So if you are looking at the corporate sector, they may need areas in managing within their own team, in finance, in the HR. So you may split them in those different areas. If you are looking at the education sector, so in that area you may want to work with teachers to target the students and how they can empathize with the students. So like how Tamara mentioned earlier. So there are really different ways you can approach. I think it is important as an organization that you decide as senior management how you would like to roll out the training to the people.
Okay. Alison, if you can share some insight or your thoughts that what resources or tools are present in today's market where people can use it to enhance their emotional intelligence as a leader. What resources or tools, or are there some exercises which can be done, small exercises during stress situations in the office?
So this can be for whether you're at work or outside of work. Simply doing something you enjoy. Just doing something that you enjoy can bring you into that alignment, which is where you can find out what emotions, where am I reacting, where am I coming in and out of this alignment. But so anything that you enjoy. For me personally, I move enough as it is. So any chance for me to get still is bringing me into my center. So I personally enjoy meditation. I personally like hearing sounds that are just really going to balance me out. Call me crazy, that could be listening to the refrigerator running. It could be something that is just like that for me, because that brings me calm and balance. But it can be many other things. It can be dancing, it can be any sort of exercise. And if you're at work and you're having a stressful situation, doing something as simple as, for example, if you're in a conference room, if things are getting heated, think about it. Is my jaw getting rigid or is it relaxed? This is a clear response that you're stressed. If it is rigid, what can I do about this? Breathe. I can always breathe to bring myself straight out of the stress response. And it doesn't matter, there are many different ways that you can breathe, but as a basis, just deep breathing in general. Yeah, you can do your breathe in for 4 or 5 counts and hold it, breathe out again. But as long as you've had the conscious awareness that, hey, I need to stop and take a breath. Or even if you're sitting at your desk, consciously thinking, have I really stopped to take a breath today? Have I really sat here and gone, or have I been go, go, go the entire time and allowing all of this stress or tension to build up into me into a point where now I'm really reacting? So you can breathe, you can shake your hands off, you can do anything that is going to release this stress in any sort of way. But basically, if you need to, if you're like me and you want something that's going to calm you down, which is shaking it off or meditating, finding that stillness, or if you're somebody that is going to find that alignment in moving, doing something that you love or enjoy, playing football or something, just do what you got to do to find it. You know when you do, you know when you're in that place.
Yeah, I think people, especially working in HR in any organization, they should have some sort of plan every month or quarterly or half yearly, whatever, so that they can incorporate such exercises to the staff from routine stuff. So, but to come up with do you think, Mr. Ahmed, that there is real, in terms of managers in the corporate world, do you think they have real energy or the zeal to learn the skills of empathy and EI to apply to their professional life?
So let's take empathy here apart from emotional intelligence a little bit, because structured training on empathy couldn't be achieved, to be honest, because empathy is a trait that needs to be practiced. Some people are born empathic, and some people need to practice
it.
and even when they are exposed to certain circumstances during their life, they practice it and they come across people that, okay, they get shocked, but they get traumatized, and then they learn about how to get empathic with people. So it's a trait that is sometimes acquired, or sometimes people are born with it. Going through emotional intelligence, yes, there are structured trainings that are sometimes forced by the companies to be trained. Yes, that's a need to develop people's emotional intelligence, or leaders. I cannot say leaders, they can never be leaders without being trained. So middle layer managers needs to be trained on being emotionally intelligent. And intelligence, like any other types of intelligence, and this EQ one could be developed, yes. Is it needed? Yes, it's needed, and structured trainings could be given, should be given. And the role of corporate leaders and HR is to enforce a developing culture. And here, there are some initiatives. Apart from the academical part, there are some social parts where we can collaborate together to let people feel and understand what other departments are doing, so that they can be empathic with them. In our company, in Newbridge, we took an initiative, and our HR took an initiative to let the people understand what other functions are doing. So a simple initiative that costed nothing. Like every couple of weeks, there is a session that is called Bring Your Lunch and Learn. 1 hour, just dedicated for lunch. Usually dedicated for lunch every day, 1 hour or even 30 minutes. But this 1 hour is scheduled by the HR to bring one of the department to invite the whole company in the pantry area, and connected online to invite all the region over Microsoft Teams or any online platform, and present what we are really doing in our department to the rest of the company. So it's just an area of socializing for everyone to know what accounting are doing on their daily job. And maybe diving deeper into, okay, some details. What other functions are doing, what medical is doing, what marketing is doing, what gastroenterology, my franchise, is doing, what oncology. So people understand more each other's area of socializing. Sometimes it brings more synergy, sometimes it brings more understanding. So this is an area of developing the social and emotional intelligence, not enforced but encouraged by the HR.
Dr. Tamara, do you think if someone has to develop these skills of empathy and EI, during which phase of life this has to be inculcated in particular individual? During which stage of life, whether it's during childhood or during teenage or after joining the corporate? What do you think?
I think this is a life learning process, so it will be better to start to develop, to control empathy, to know what is empathy and EY from the early ages, because that will help us to build a stronger future and to have stronger leaders in our companies. And I think we have to build from 5 years. I'm working with kids on our IT hub from 5 years, and the children has different backgrounds. More of they are different program. There are some children who stay more on computers, on devices. There are children who stay less. It depends on the education of their parents. So, from my observation, the children who stay more on the devices, they are more nervous. It's very difficult to find a solution for them to pay attention to what you are doing. But the kids with whose parents work, talk a lot, and has not so much access to the devices, they will see the digital, the tablet, the computer with other eyes, like a learning tool, not like something that it's just for fun. And when you are training this kind of kids and they are in the same group, you have to build empathy, because they can start to fight. It's like, you have to have a third eye, because you're stay there, you're training, and you with the kids, little kids, and you have to say, oh, do not hit him, stay here. Okay, so it should be built from the early age, and also in teens has to understand that, because early age, I think, and the teenagers are the difficult years, and they have a lot of questions, struggles, and it's a group of age which you have to have, as a trainer, a lot of calm, patience, empathy, EY, and all of this.
So according to you, you are saying that during childhood, these skills has to be developed.
Yes, definitely.
Mr. Rajesh, do you think that there is a saying that whenever in corporate world, if something has to be implemented or something has to be, bring in, always the managers and the leaders are held responsible for it. But because these empathy and emotional intelligence are social skills, don't you think that it has to be developed from the team member side as well? My meaning is it has to be equally, has to be developed by the staff and the team members rather than just focusing on the manager itself.
Well, I believe everyone should share the responsibility. It's an organizational goal to show performance, to be answerable to the shareholders. So in this scenario, you have asked me, I would say that everyone should take the responsibility and should have an open mindset, growth mindset, where they are open to learning and open to developing these skills, so that the outcome is a positive outcome, and it's in line with, of course, their company's vision and purpose. I believe to have a win-win, it's not only on the onus of the managers or even the senior management, it is everyone's responsibility and accountability.
Just last two questions, then we will take a couple of questions from the audience. Alison, do you have any advice that for the leaders and the team members who want to improve their emotional intelligence, but they don't know where to start with?
I would definitely say starting with yourself to see any change or improvement that you want to see in the people working for you. Everything that you do comes from yourself, even the people that, the workers or the clients that are reacting in front of you. There is a vibration inside of you that has drawn that, and it really pays to work a lot on what you've got happening inside you, whether you're aware that there's something there or not, because the people around you, they're going to show you what is there. So I would, keeping it short, I would say starting with yourself is the best way.
Thank you, Alison. Before closing out the last question, I would like to ask Mr. Ahmed that what do you think the future holds for empathy in leadership?
So we are more now going towards the customer, the client. We are going eccentric and going towards satisfying the needs of the world. We are towards satisfying the need of who pays at the end of the day. And if we corporates at the end of the day, if we don't satisfy the needs of the corporates itself and the employees of the corporate, so maybe we are cheating ourselves. So as leaders, we need to think of our teams, our employees, our assets before satisfying the needs of our clients. In the pharmaceutical industry, we satisfy the patient's needs. We are patient-centric. So we should also be people-centric as much as we are patient-centric. So I think the future, if the future is customer-centric, the leadership should be also people-centric, and we shouldn't lose ourselves in the business and corporate mandates and the target and focusing on the financial objectives, losing and passing on the targets straight away down to the junior employees, forgetting the empathy and the people centricity, because this is coming now to be a middle management layer, forgettable issue. And now it's being overseen from the middle layer management. So empathy should remain in the basic elemental parts of the leadership, should remain there, should be reinforced by the senior management and by the HR. This is the main objective, I think, that we didn't disagree on. We were here to reinforce the same message that empathy and emotional intelligence should remain in the leadership areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. Audience, from anyone want to have? Yes, please.
This is, I think, the biggest topic there is. And we're basically talking about the human condition. A lot of stuff down. So just real quick, I'll read some words I was writing down while I was listening. IQ, EQ, masculine, feminine, testosterone, estrogen, nurture, nature, right brain, left brain, abundance, scarcity, abundance, control, and freedom. And so all of these things fit into this dynamic that you're talking about when you're talking about empathy and how to read another person and find out what they're going through. So the statement I kept hearing over and over again is developing these skills. And I want to suggest that no matter how skillful you are, if you've got stress, if you have fear, your behavior is going to show it. Doesn't matter how skilled you are. And so I kept thinking, also the leadership. You're going to be a different person in a Montessori school than you are in an engineering firm. And how you relate to those people. So this is really complex. And so what I came away with was two other words: introspection and taking responsibility. Because I think what we're talking about here is an entire lifetime. And it's hard for a fast-moving digital firm where the leader is 24 years old and he's got 300 people working for him to know all this stuff. So I think if there's one thing we can teach people is how to be introspective. So when someone says, how was your day today? And you go, I lost my temper today. Well, let's talk about that. And then let's go back and take responsibility for it. And then it's just a journey. And you're dragging everybody with you. But what I'm hearing here is a lot of mind's eye stuff, but it's really, really hard to apply. So I applaud everybody for trying to get their minds around this, but the words I came away with was introspection and responsibility, and I wanted to get your reaction.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Actually, you are right that what to my mind is like you have brought a very important thing that in corporate world we are focusing on business achievements and everything is related to money, and the people forget about the basic things which comes from the beliefs and values that the one you are talking about introspection and you are talking about responsibility. Those things are basically every individual must have it when they are in the learning stage. While they are growing up, they have to learn those things and it has to be inbuilt. And people, what will happen is that once the child becomes adult, and once they get involved into the corporate world, they start forgetting the basic things, which comes from the values and the culture, what they have learned. So yes, I totally agree with you that every individual has to have introspection and even the responsibility on oneself before like pointing out fingers. For example, if there is a like argument or heated discussion between two persons, then the people feel responsible about it, what they are saying, and they have to introspect what they are saying to the other party. So totally agree the point what you have raised. And Alison, if you want to add, or Ahmed, if you want to add something.
Yeah, just really quickly, you're completely spot on, and you're right, it is a lifetime's work, and even though you have all of these people that are relying on you, they're looking up to you while you are doing this, because you are doing the hard work, and they're seeing it, and it is inspiring them. So that is exactly what you need to be doing. The introspective work, and just delegate absolutely everything else that you need to, so that you can be your best self for all the people that are looking up to you. You completely got it.
Thank you so much. You brought it you brought it up to the discussion because the title of the panel discussion is that one. If we were talking about the PNL, we could have focused on the EBITDA and we talked about it more and more and how strict we couldn't deviate on it. The key here is the balance. We are just focusing here on the empathy because leadership should be attained with the empathy, but leadership is the essential part. The key again is the balance. And the key again, like when I summarized them, we shouldn't lose focus on, yes, while achieving the corporate mandates, we shouldn't overlook this part of empathy. It's a very big dilemma that a balance here is just needed. And the most successful organizations are those who can keep a balance, because we cannot say that it can be easily overlooked. The balance is still needed, and that's what we're shedding light here on. I hope I answered your question.
It's point of debate. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I'm done.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
question.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Sorry for not being able to take in more
Thank
questions.
you guys.